Hi all, welcome back to my channel. I am about to get my meal ready. Today I would like to speak on the living expenses in Japan. You know, how much they cost to get the room, how is it when it comes to daily necessities. So I would like to cover that in hope that it's going to be helpful for some people who are considering living in Japan. Today I'm having the rice noodles and the chili Thai sauce. So I'm just gonna mix it up, and the soup. Itadakimasu. So, when it comes to moving in Japan in general, the first thing is that when you're gonna look for the apartment, usually the websites that people use are Sumo, My Home. I will put the list somewhere right here. The apartment that I'm living in right now, I live about 40 minutes from Tokyo. 1K apartment for 80,000 yen. On the top of that, I have to pay for gas, water, and electricity. I would say it would be about 15,000 yen. Also, when it comes to daily necessities, it's actually going to be about 5,000 yen. For the food, I love food. Usually on the groceries only, for me, it takes about 30 to 40,000 yen. I eat veggies a lot and I eat fruits a lot. So for me, it's going to be about 30 to 40,000 yen per month. And it also will depend on which, supermarket you go to. At some places it costs a little more, and some places it actually costs the way less than just normal grocery store. Also on the weekends, so when it comes to going on the weekends, usually I go to cafes, or if I decide to grab a dinner, obviously I'm eating out. So usually in Japan, for one meal, depending on where you go, obviously it's going to cost in average 1,500 yen to 2,000 per one person. This is approximately actually cost me to live per month in Japan. Next, I want to talk about renting an apartment in general in Japan. So when it comes to renting out the room in Japan in general, let's say you come in Japan and you say, okay, I need room. I think the apartment between 70,000 to 120,000 is pretty much average. Obviously, it's going to depend on which area are you living in, what accessibility to the train they have, and also how old or new the apartment is. Let's say you found the apartment that suits your preference, in the area that you feel comfortable with the train accessibility that you're also comfortable with. When it comes to moving in, you will have to pay a lot. When they talk about this first deposit, the way how they calculate it is usually 6 months of your monthly pay rent. Let's say that your apartment is going to be about 100,000 yen. It's probably going to be around 500 to 600. But I've moved about 4 times now in Japan, and every time it comes to moving in, there's a lot to cover. First thing is shikikin. Shikikin is you pay 1 month ahead so they can use those money after you move out, meaning for the cleaning, for like damage that you may make. Usually it's 1 month, so it's called shikikin. Most of the apartments have that. If they don't have it, they're just going to calculate that at the end when you move out. Eventually, you will have to pay 1 monthly amount once you move out. The second thing is reikin. Reikin, as I translate it, would be more of gratitude money. This money are not returnable. Basically, when you move in the apartment, they consider this money as a gratitude money for the owner of the house. So usually it's also 1 month of rate. Some of them do it like 50% of the monthly rate. Some of them do it 1.5 times of the monthly rate. So it really depends on the apartment and the agency you use. You can find the apartments that don't have reikin. 4 times that I've moved so far, I never paid for the gratitude money any of the apartments that I had. Really, if you look for the agency and if you go and look on the website, most of the places do have shikikin and reikin. Another thing that includes that huge amount of money is obviously agency fee. So if you apply for the apartment and you look for the apartment, you found the apartment through the agency on the website, depending on the agency, they also need to take their fee. And usually it's 1 month. Some agencies do it 1.5 months, some agencies do it 2 months, and some agencies just don't really have that. Throughout my experience moving 4 times, I usually paid about 1 month of the fee to the agent. And whatever comes like after that, whether it's going to be the key, like additional cleaning, they also can put you. If you have a pet, you also will have to pay the additional. My advice, if you are trying to rent a room in Japan, grab someone who can speak Japanese, who understands at least or have experience of moving out and moving in, because if you're a foreigner, some of the agencies are actually going to use it in their advantage, and they're make you pay a lot more than they would let the local pay. So it also really depends on the agency that you use. So before I decide which apartment I'm going into, I usually go around 3 to 5 agencies and I ask them to look up for the same room. You'll be surprised, but you actually will see the amount of first deposit that you pay is really going to depend on the agency that you use. And lastly, I think when you move out, they're going to charge you smoke in the room. They're going to charge you a lot more. If you have a pet and if the walls are damaged or the floor is damaged, they're going to charge you for that as well. Yeah, it was like really, quick summary of my expenses living in Japan and if I move out and move in. I hope it helps. There are 2 tips that I really want to strongly point out. First, if you're a foreigner and you're trying to get the apartment to rent in Japan, grab some of your people that you know who can speak Japanese or who has the experience moving in and out. Another tip I have, use multiple agencies. If you have one apartment that you really like, go and hit up a couple of agencies because they have different contracts, because they have different fees. The first deposit that they, the things that they include in the first deposit are different. The numbers that I submitted were very rough and they're very in average. So if you have any questions, let me know. And thank you so much for watching. See you.